All right, everybody, welcome back to Recliner Sports Talk. This episode 3, season 2. My name is Nick.
I'm Zach.
All right, Brandon is out on a date, so we'll have to give us a recap next week. But today, going to talk a little bit of recap of NFL from last week and some stuff we like for this week coming up. But I'm going to let Zach take the floor first here. Obviously, there was some controversial calls with taunting this week, so Zach, take it away with your opinion there.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the NFL. Week 1, they didn't call a lot, so I was kind of hoping the refs would stay away from calling that stuff. But this week was bad. Almost every game had a taunting penalty. Some of the taunting penalties were terrible. I thought the worst one was in the Titans Seahawks game. And yes, it was an overthrow, but the cornerback was doing the usual like incomplete, throwing his hands up. Really wasn't even going at the Titans receiver in the video that I saw. And he gets a taunting penalty that gives the Titans a first down. All right, that's terrible. That's a game-changing call. That should never be that way. But then it's inconsistent because they have the rule where you can go to the crowd and do whatever. But Jalen Ramsey picks a ball off to end the game for the Colts, or for the Rams against the Colts, and he taunts the whole stadium. He's running around. He's doing his stuff to the crowd, doing stuff to the players. No call. So that's the thing that I don't understand with it, because you're changing games by calling it, but then you let a game that comes down to the wire. There's a late pick by a backup quarterback for the Colts, and the corner, he's the best corner in the league, picks it off and he taunts the whole stadium and there's no call. All right, maybe, hey, I don't ever want it to happen, but you give the Colts the ball back there after a penalty. Hey, you never know what happens, but again, it's very inconsistent for me. I also, officiating in general looked bad this weekend. I watched the Cowboys and the Chargers game from start to finish. It was the worst officiated NFL game I've ever seen. I am a known Cowboys hater. I hate the Cowboys. Go Eagles. But unbelievable. Both sides, it felt like there was a penalty every single big run, big pass, whatever it was. The Chargers got 2 touchdowns wiped off the board. That turned into, one was a turnover and one ended up being a field goal. The Chargers dominated that game. They just couldn't beat the refs. Jared Cook caught a touchdown pass and he was called for an illegal motion. There was no illegal motion. The referee, John Perry, who's the analyst, said the call was wrong. The announcers were Romo and what's his name? Jim Nance said it was the wrong call. I mean, it was just the whole game, the whole officiating. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm not saying that just because the Cowboys won. I would have said it if the Chargers won also. It was the worst officiated NFL game I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's crazy, some of these flags, right? And I think what you said was perfect there. It's inconsistent. How are you going to be able to do whatever celebration you want after you score a touchdown, but you can't do, this is the classic. It's in Madden. Classic. Been doing it forever, and you're getting a flag for that? Come on. Again, you can do whatever you want pretty much in some of these end zone celebrations, but we can't do something like that. I think what you hit the nail on the head there. It's very inconsistent what they're saying to do.
Well, and the other thing that I've seen a lot of, and I've been watching the Eagles games, and both Eagles games I've seen it, they're calling defensive holding on the defensive lineman now. And they're almost making it impossible for the defense to get off the field. Interference is called every 50-50 ball, you're getting a PI. Now, and I'm sure it happened all the time last year too, but they didn't call it. But when there's a screen pass, the offensive line releases late while the defensive linemen are pulling these guys or holding them so they can't get out there and block. Both games, it was called. It was called against the Falcons, which it was just a terrible call. And I'm an Eagles fan. It was a terrible call on Grady Jarrett. And then it was called on the Eagles or the 49ers this weekend on a screen pass. I'm like, you are making it impossible for the defense to make any of these plays. Like, it really is. And now you got taunted. And it's been mostly on the defensive side of the ball. So you're really putting more pressure on the defenses in the NFL than you've ever had before, because these penalties are all against the defense.
Yeah, and the targeting. What game was it? It was a college game, right? All the targeting calls, or was it NFL? I can't remember. But the targeting calls was obviously a big controversial thing, right? Guys going full speed in split seconds making decisions there. Yeah. But now, like you said, it's almost impossible to get off the field being defense where you're going to do these defensive holdings, targeting, taunting. Come on, man. Come on. Now I understand they're professional, but they have to play 100% clean to do what they do. And it's an offensive game. It's just like when baseball, right? The lowering the seams and all that type of stuff to have better offense. NFL's doing it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible. I would not want to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL. I wouldn't even want to be a D-back in the NFL. It is so hard right now. Yeah. And that's why what Jalen Ramsey does is so amazing because, wow, how do you play D-back in the NFL anymore?
Yeah. Tough there. All right. Well, a little recap of last week. Okay. I didn't get to count mine up. Zach said he went 8-8. I know for a fact I did worse than 8-8. Tough week. I tried to make some reach picks like a dummy on a lot of games. But Zach, were there any games this past weekend that surprised you or kind of set the tone that, wow, this team really is good or wow, this team really is bad?
There was a few. There was a couple surprises. I thought the Bengals coming off a big win in week 1, thought they'd come out and win in week 2. No, came out flat, laid an egg. Joe Mixon did his usual 30 touches for 30 something yards. Like it was just, I don't know what his actual numbers were, but a ton of touches, not a lot of production. The Steelers offense is not very good. And Big Ben is, I will say it again. I said it last year at the end. He's holding them back.
Yeah.
He can't move in the pocket. He got absolutely annihilated by the Raiders D line early in the game. I thought that was going to be a targeting call. He got crushed early in the game. But, you know, the biggest disappointment to me is definitely the Steelers offense. The Seahawks looked bad in the second half. They were killing the Titans. There's a couple. But the biggest surprise to me overall is the Raiders. I think the Raiders have looked really good. 2-0. And they beat the Ravens, they beat the Steelers. But like I said, I don't think the Steelers offense is very good this year. But those are two big opponents that easily past Raiders teams. You're 0-2, and you're looking at another bad year. Derek Carr is leading the league in passing yards right now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the biggest surprise for me this season. Last year, or whatever year they were on Hard Knocks, I had a lot of hope for them. Hard Knocks always does that to me. I had a lot of hope for the Browns that year too. But that year at the Raiders, they had Antonio Brown. John Gruden had a full year with them. Now they're back. Mike Mayock was running the draft. So I was kind of excited for them. They fell flat. Didn't really like them last year. I thought they were just a very below average team. But this year they look good. They got a defense finally.
Yeah.
And Gus Bradley, who took a lot of heat as the head coach in, I believe, Jacksonville, took a lot of heat there. He didn't really perform after being the best D coordinator in the league with the Seahawks. Easy to do with all those players. But he's running a good defense here in Las Vegas, and he doesn't have all those stars. I'm excited to see him back in the NFL really doing his thing because he was a very good defensive coordinator in Seattle, but he's got the Raiders playing really good defense, and that's a big surprise for me.
Yeah, and I hate saying this, man. I really do think the NL East is going to run through Dallas this year. I think it's their division to lose. I know I said Washington when we made our predictions, but I'm going to be 100% honest. I had Dallas written down, and I thought I could not go out and say Dallas division champs. But that Washington Giants game, I understand it was exciting. There was points. That game did not impress me. Washington's defense, that secondary, still killing them there.
Yeah.
So NFC's just like every year. Who knows what's happening? Who knows? I picked the Eagles to win last week. I thought they're going to ride it hard. Either the Falcons really bad or the 49ers just know how to win. I think this is going to be the 49ers formula all year. Hey, let's play great defense. We'll score enough. You know, we will control the ball and all that. The Texans, for you bettors out there, listen, I want to jump on the train early. If they keep on getting points, take them. They're going to cover. I looked at two different lines from last week because I know on my parlay, it was a big line, the little teaser parlay cards. I look back, there was one that was 10.5, I think, 12.5, and 13.5. They would have covered all three of those lines there. Okay. Like Zach kind of mentioned, I think you said last week, right? It's a bunch of veterans. They're going to be in games. Browns are a very, very good team. And guess what? The Texans would have covered. They covered. They lost by 10. So for you bettors out there, keep that in mind. The Saints laying that egg out there. Jameis
Forgot about them.
forgot his contacts or something, because I did not see a 7-point outing after what they did the week before.
Alvin Kamara, 5 yards.
How nuts is that? How nuts is that? He's one of the best backs in the league. Like, come on. Panthers, though, 2-0. Now, they did play the Jets, but the Saints is kind of like, all right, maybe they are that good. Rams, still, I have them as my pick still to win it. I don't think that's going to change. Dolphins surprised me. I thought they were going to put up a fight. I picked them to win, thinking that Patriots win. Maybe they've turned that corner. Tua getting hurt. Brissett, they said it on part of my take, the Barstool thing. Brissett does not look good in those colors. Okay. A little thicker guy. Nothing against him there. So really surprised to put up a goose egg. A goose egg. I swore that they could put in a fight that game. Like you said about the Bengals, I thought the Bengals can get it done. Hey, Justin Fields, baby, gonna get the start this week. Let me check who they play. They play the Browns. Playing the Browns. Don't tell me that's in Ohio. At the Browns. Wow.
Oh, boy.
Great call there. Great call there, Nagy. You know those Brown fans are going to be torn because they're all Buckeyes fans too.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep moving here. Titans big win. Didn't think that was going to happen after what they did. They bounced back very well. The Vikings are the new Chargers. They cannot find a way to win. They put up points. They play good games, and they can't win in the end. My boy Kyler Murray's going off for my fantasy team right now. He's lightning in a bottle, but it's interesting to see. I don't think he plays all 17 games this year, and that sucks being a fantasy owner by him, but he plays very reckless, and I love it. But can he withstand that gameplay? Ravens, great win, great bounce back. Just think about that. They're on their 3rd or 4th running back right now. They're signing guys all over the place. Guess what? They got it done. I love my guy Lamar bouncing back here. And again, listen, what they did to Tyreek Hill. They said, you can beat us with anybody but Tyreek Hill. And look what happens. They still put up 35. I get that. But Brandon last week in our group chat was talking about how do these guys get so wide open? Guess what? I think the Ravens just put out a blueprint for a lot of things. Now, Andy Reid, very smart. Zach knows this. He's going to come back with the answers to that. Okay. Yep. But I said it before. I think that loss in the Super Bowl gave a lot of other teams confidence. This Ravens team was 0-3 career against them. Lamar was 0-3. And guess what? They come back and kind of with a vengeance there with that big 4th and 1. I'd do it too when you can go 10 blockers. Run the ball with Lamar, and then moving on to the next. It does make it easy when you can go 10 blockers on 11 there. Obviously, usually it's going 9 blockers because quarterback's inefficient on the run game there. And lastly, Packers coming back on track. I still do like the Lions. They were up at half, and then obviously Green Bay is an elite level talent team, just too much for them. But I feel like the Lions are building something, right? They got the younger quarterback. They have that stud tight end. They have a running back they're using now. So, and a new coach. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I agree. And Jared Goff looked really good in the first half. Like he looked real good. Second half, they don't have the firepower that the Packers had. Packers just have that. Devontae Adams is a beast. They just don't have that firepower. One thing I wanted to say too. About the Eagles. I thought the Eagles dominated the game early. They just couldn't score. We had a 91-yard catch that ends up in no points because we went for it on 4th. He tried to bring the Philly special back.
Philly special, baby.
Now, the 49ers, just like the Ravens, though, they are running out of running backs. They signed a guy off the Bengals practice squad, and he's like their 6th signed running back in the past 3 weeks. But Trey Sermon got to carry his first career carry, and he gets a concussion after he broke it 8 yards, looked great, and gets a concussion, which is a shame because I have him on one of my fantasy teams. But I agree, the Vikings, they just don't know how to win. They had time to move closer for that kicker, and he didn't miss because of distance. He missed because he kicked it wide left. But they had time to get him closer, get him better field position. They let the clock run down. Like, what are you doing? You had a timeout. You could have ran the ball a couple times, get it closer. Hey, you might even score. And they decided to let the clock run down, call it to their final timeout. They kick it and they miss.
Yeah.
What made it even worse is the radio announcer announced that it went in. He said it was good.
I love that.
It was good. So that made it even worse.
Yeah. And just a little preview for this upcoming week. There's some good matchups here. I really like this Green Bay and the 49ers. I think that could be a really good game because I think the 49ers defense is very good. How does Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers go with that? Buccaneers, Rams, I'm clearing my schedule. I got Firefly tickets, believe it or not, for very, very cheap. But I think I'm going to make sure I'm home at 4:25 on Sunday to go watch this
That's
game.
A great game.
I think the Eagles-Cowboys game, depending on what Eagles offense shows up, could be a good game. But another one I'm really excited for, I think that Bengals-Steelers game is going to be very, very interesting because I think the Bengals will put up some points. And I don't think the Steelers will put up as many points. I think the Bills blow out Washington, unfortunately. I don't think Washington has the offense to go with them. And I think the Colts and Titans are very similar teams, so that will be a good game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not impressed with the Bills yet. You know, I'm very shocked the way they've come out flat. And it's kind of disappointing because they're my Super Bowl pick. But they have not come out and looked good.
Yeah, we'll have to see there. And then obviously Chiefs Chargers. Hey, everybody bet the over. Okay, that's gonna be a lot of points scored, I think.
Yes.
So I am wearing this shirt right now for a reason. If you can see it here. I know I didn't mention at the beginning, but I just kind of saw I had the shirt on. So I was like, Zach, I'm going to ask you. Brandon's not here. We already know what he can say. He stinks. So we are going to talk about it as Philadelphia fans real quick because I'm sure we can go on it forever and ever. Ben Simmons not reporting for camp, pretty much saying he's played his last game in Philadelphia. What's your opinion on the whole thing?
So, I mean, I'm a Ben Simmons defender. I like Ben Simmons, but the way he's been acting this offseason, it's hard to defend. I would love for him to stay, but at the same time, if he doesn't want to be here, he's got to go. And it's a shame because I do think he is going to be a good talent in the NBA, but he has to figure out a shot. He's got to figure out a jump shot. The only problem I have is I feel like if we trade him before the season starts, I think his trade value is down. I think it's bad. What I think they should do, and this, I don't know how it'll work, but I think they should do what the Cavs did with Andre Drummond, and who else? There's another one that somebody else was in. It was DeAndre Jordan, I think, too. But pay them, sit them on the bench, and say, we're waiting to trade you for the best deal we can get. Because the Sixers have to be in the process of, we're getting the best deal we can get right now.
Yeah.
Because I think if they trade him now, they're going to settle and they're not going to get the best deal. So if you wait till the season starts, hey, Portland starts 0-4, Washington starts 0-5, or something like that where it goes south. Hey, maybe you're ending up with a Bradley Beal. Maybe you're ending up with Damian Lillard. Maybe you're ending up with another star you can bring in here. Because my fear is, and this is my fear, that they're going to trade him now, and okay, you're going to get John Wall. John Wall is a huge contract, an older player who's hurt a lot. That's not what the Sixers need.
No,
not at all. And maybe their first round pick, I can't remember his name right now. I sent it to us yesterday. But if that happens, I think the Sixers take a loss on this deal. I think you got to get the max that you can get for Ben Simmons, and I think the way you get that is if you keep him going into the season and then trade him when a team like Portland, it starts going south. Because personally, I don't want John Wall. And hey, if we get him and he ends up blowing up, awesome. I got proved wrong. But I just don't see it working out well if we go and settle for John Wall to come in here.
Yeah. I think that well, first off, you said it perfectly. I'm a Ben Simmons supporter as well, but if he does not want to be there, get him out. And if it's going to be get your best deal and wait, that is fine with me as well, because I am very, very intrigued. You and I know a lot of people in the Sixers organization that an average fan won't know. But Sixers have had a lot of success in the G League in guys they have drafted over the past couple of years with Paul Reed, obviously Maxey.
I love Maxey.
So here's the thing. Why not ride those guys out early, like you said? Then guess what? Maybe you pair an Isaiah Joe or a Paul Reed with Ben Simmons because they play well early because, hey, Ben Simmons is not playing, and now you go get a guy. Now, question for you, Zach. Obviously, Tobias played power forward this past year and did pretty well, but do you go get a pretty good power forward? So now you can bump him to the 3 and he's guarding some of these taller guys like because you don't have Ben Simmons anymore, the KDs and those type of guys, LeBrons, of that superstar talent. And now you also have another power forward that might be a little more stretch for. Obviously, Tobias can handle the ball a little more, but do a little more dirty work down low, and then ride out with what you got after that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the deals that I saw, a lot of people had rumors this summer and this off season. But one of the deals I loved was Larry Nance Jr. and Colin Sexton for Simmons.
Yeah.
Hey, I think what we truly need is a floor general point guard, a guy that will come and run the floor and, dish the ball out properly. Like Simmons, all he was doing in the playoffs, and he wasn't doing this early on in the season. So I really don't know what happened second half of the year going into the playoffs. Something changed. I don't know. Obviously, we're not in the locker room, so we don't know what the relationship is, but something happened. But I think if you had Colin Sexton and Larry Nance, you move Tobias to the 3. I think our offense looks a lot better there. I really do, because Colin Sexton's going to score, but he's also going to dish it out and he's going to get his assists. And Larry Nance has become a big-time player in Cleveland. So I think you put him with Joe and you put – if Tyrese Maxey's running the point for us to start the year, I'm not mad.
No.
I'm not mad. I love him. I think he's a good player. I think he's electric. I've seen some videos of him training and stuff. I love it. I love Tyrese Maxey. I love what he did in the playoffs when we put him at the point against Washington, right? He was running the point for a little bit in the second half of the game. Hey, I am all about getting the best deal we can get. I think a power forward and a point guard is exactly what we need. Not an Al Horford type guy. We need a guy who's athletic and can stretch the floor. And that's the biggest thing. That's what I hope Colin Sexton and Larry Nance Jr., I would be in love with that.
Yeah. And here's the thing. That's a step back. That is a step back. You are not getting equal value there, but you're getting what fits the team. And if you're not going to get equal value, get what fits the team. I'm going to trust Morey here and say he's going to get the right guy. Ben Simmons, Philadelphia supported you so much. So much. What was this, the 4th playoff run or 3rd playoff run here? It wasn't like this was 1 or 2. We have seen this year in and year out. They started it last year. You know what you got to get better at, and you didn't get better. I love watching Ben Simmons. Our defense will hurt early because you got to learn to play without Ben Simmons. All that slack now has to be picked up that Ben Simmons was picking up. But with him gone, you're going to get such a more confident team because JoJo's going to take the lead there, and you're going to get a gritty team. I understand Ben Simmons. If he would have bought into everything, we are the most grittiest team. But it's going to be a different type of gritty. You're going to get guys making shots. You're going to get guys buying in because at the end of the day, now there's not a who's the guy. Everyone already knows it's JoJo. And guess what? Even more people are going to buy in and buy into him. He stays healthy. Watch out.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a way more confident team. I think it'll be a better offense. And that's the thing that has killed them is their offense is terrible. They're not a bad defensive team. Their offense is just so bad.
And here, Zach and I got to get off this because we'll talk about this forever. But the offense has been pass it to Joe and just watch. But now when you have another guy that is a threat shooting the ball, you can have guys moving. He can kick to more than one option for a jump shot. Now, Danny Green's got to make some more jump shots. Seth Curry's got to continue to shoot. Tobias has to play the same way he did this past year. Maxey's not scared to shoot. So it would just be making sure he gets those quality ones in there.
He's got to be consistent. He's just got to be consistent for us.
Yeah, and he's 19 years old, 20 years old, so he will get better. But again, Zach and I could talk about this forever. Ben Simmons, wish you the best. I hope you lose to us sometime in the playoffs if you're in the East. But hey, Sixers gave you plenty of chances. This is what we're dealing with now. Go ahead, do your thing. We'll do our thing.
Yeah. Go to
All
Golden
right.
State, pass it to Clay.
Yeah. All right. Any final words here, Zach?
No, that was actually gonna be one of my final takes because I don't know if we were gonna talk about it or not, but the Ben Simmons thing for sure. But goodness, the NL East race close, coming down to the wire. Big win for the Phillies last night. Big win for the Braves too. They're battling it out. I really do hope, and I'm gonna say this: if it's not one of these Braves players, I hope Bryce Harper wins MVP because he has literally carried the Phillies the last couple months, and it's crazy to see how well he's really taken off with that offense in Philly. Like he's done really well. So if it's not one of these Braves that are on fire right now, I hope it's Bryce Harper winning that MVP.
I'll go out and say I don't think the Phillies are making the playoffs. No way they are. But if they do, I'll wear Phillies gear for the entire playoffs they are in it, which also might be very short. It might be 4 days. But there's no way the Phillies are making it. I'll be the hater. I'll be the doubter. I am the Phillies fan. No way they win enough to be in this spot. And the crazy part is their schedule is 10 times easier than what the Braves are dealing with. And they will lose. There's no doubt in my mind. They will lose enough games. And it will probably finish 3 games out, if we're being honest. No doubt in my mind. The Braves will go through a gauntlet. And you would think the Phillies are going through the same gauntlet, playing teams with a combined like 500 more losses. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Braves schedule towards the end here is tough, but they're battling through. They just got to keep winning series. That's all they got to do. They'll drop 1 or 2, but win that 3rd or 4th. But we'll see. The Braves pitching is what scares me. So.
Or knowing the Phillies, they will take the lead and then they'll get swept or something by the Marlins at the end. They're kryptonite, the Miami Marlins. The Phillies can never win series consistently against the Miami Marlins. So,
crazy.
All right. Well, we'll have to figure out that recap on Brandon's date there today. Thank you for listening to our recap of NFL football and obviously some Ben Simmons love-hate relationship here with Philly fans. My name is Nick.
I'm Zach.
We'll see you guys next week on Recliner Sports Talk.